Heineken, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Pierce, Uncle Pierce.
Yeah.
In the building with us.
We got the core four.
Listen, I'm happy to be here, but these conditions is harsh. I have my own table, my own desk, studio in L.A. I mean, y'all grinding out here. I appreciate
Mina done spoiled you.
Yeah. Welcome to Maria's Palace.
It's hard for me to get used to these conditions.
Sorry, Studio 34 is officially closed. The NBA countdown. Families together for the rest of the playoffs. Maria Taylor, Jalen Rose still here looking crispy. Jay Will looking like everybody's little brother.
That's getting better.
Hey,
we're incrementally getting better over time, Maria. I like this. You look incredible today. Thank you.
Thank you.
CJ Rose, I'm learning.
Yes, indeed. Good job. Good job.
Okay, guys, let's jump right into it because we all learned today that voting matters. Me especially.
I like what you did there.
You see that? Okay, let's shift away from the playoffs for a second and talk about Giannis and LeBron because you've probably all heard the conversation and the sound from LBJ. Lifting from the playoffs, Giannis is the MVP for the second straight season. He became the third player to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season, which he is able to join Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. But obviously, there were conversations about that MVP race. Remember, all of the voting was based on play that happened before March 11th. Giannis easily won. He received 85 first-place votes and over 200 total points more than LeBron. As for James, he had 16 first-place ballots, which made him talk about it after the Lakers' Game 1 win. Here's LeBron.
Pissed me off. That's my true answer. It pissed me off because out of 101 votes, I got 16 first place votes. That's what pissed me off more than anything. You know, not saying that the winner wasn't deserving of the MVP, but that pissed me off. I finished second a lot in my career, either from a championship and now 4 times as an MVP. It's a weird thing sometimes that I don't know how much we are really watching the game of basketball, or are we just in the narration mode, the narrative. I just know the headline will be tomorrow.
Headline tomorrow and Saturday. It's going to be every single day we're talking about it. The headline was LeBron is pissed, and he's talking about those 16 first-place votes. I think the conversation starts with what do we consider MVPs? It's evolved over time.
So I'm a voter. I'm going to own that I voted for Giannis, and I have no regrets, Maria. He had the best PER in the history of the NBA. They had the #1 record in the NBA. He was terrific the entire season. And for a guy that's lifting the Milwaukee Bucks as their superstar, he doesn't have an Anthony Davis to play with. Mm-hmm. And so for him to lead his team in all of those major statistical categories and accomplish what he accomplished, he deserved the regular season MVP. The problem, NBA, you do us a disservice as voters and as players when you don't give out the award right after the season.
Yeah.
If you give it out right after the season, we was there. We was in L.A.
Yeah, we saw it.
We saw Giannis get hurt. LeBron was gaining steam, but that night when we were in L.A. before it shut down and the Lakers beat the Clippers, Giannis was the MVP,
right. And
that's where we were voting.
I just get frustrated because it seems like each and every year it's a moving target, right? It's so fluid each and every year. So, what we didn't play is the clip before that in 2012, 2013, LeBron James was probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP of the league, right? He won MVP. You know who won Defensive Player of the Year that year? Marc Gasol. Guess what? Marc Gasol was second team all-defensive in the league. He was second team all-defensive, but yet he won Defensive Player of the Year. How does that work, right? So the moving targets about that goes back to what you were saying, Jay Rose. At least just be consistent each and every year, and that's what LeBron James was talking about.
Well, the thing is, what LeBron has to understand, and he's been the best player, over the last 15, 16 years or however long he's been in the league. But the best player doesn't always get the MVP. We all know that. It goes on, team, statistics. What do you mean to your team? LeBron, he means a lot to his team, clearly. But if you take LeBron off that team, I still believe the Lakers are a playoff team. Mm-hmm. If you take Giannis off the Bucks, they don't sniff the playoffs. I mean, we saw how Miami did them with Giannis. And so, yeah, LeBron may go on, but I'm going to tell you this. LeBron he's using this for motivation. He don't care about no regular season MVP.
Correct. But
he cares about one MVP. That's the finals MVP right now.
Are we sure about that? Are we sure if we took LeBron off the Lakers would definitely make the playoffs in the West?
Well, it
AD
depends on what
is
you
good
think
enough.
about AD. It depends on what you think about AD.
I'm just saying, if I watch AD back in the day, I don't know. I think that's a big-time question. I think the East isn't as deep as the West. I don't know. Maybe Milwaukee sneaks it. I'm just saying.
I truly believe LeBron James is a pilot, Maria. He's looking at the landscape right now. There's no Kawhi, no other skyscraper. And all he got to do is land safely. All he got to do is land safely. And the Lakers going to win the championship this year.
Yeah.
And I got social media on my phone. I've been 15 years old. Okay? I was in my mid-20s and active 15. LeBron trying to get to the crib. So when you ask me about the Lakers, Lakers in 3. That's all I got to say from now on. Lakers in 3. LeBron trying to get to the crib.
When he got up and said he was pissed, you just felt it for the Nuggets, didn't you? You were like, oh, snap. I just feel bad for Denver. Okay, all right, let's talk about tonight's three-point performance presented by Mountain Dew. The Lakers took advantage when left wide open in Game 1. According to Second Spectrum, LA shot 77% on three-pointers when the closest defender was at least 6 feet away. That is their highest percentage in any game this season. What was the difference, though? I'm actually kind of curious about that. But in addition to the wide open threes, the Nuggets had no answer for AD. He recorded 30 points, 10 rebounds through 3 quarters. That's the second time this postseason he's done that, and he's the only player to do that more in a single playoff year since play-by-play began in the 1997 season, and it was Shaquille O'Neal who was able to do that. So one thing I do actually want to know, why are the Lakers shooting the 3-ball better? 2, how can the Nuggets slow down AD? Jay Will?
Well, look, I don't think you can slow down AD. I mean, you can try to give multiple bodies at him, but I also like the way that the Lakers aggressively attacked Jokic. Right? They were aggressive with him the whole game. And I got to give props to Dwight Howard. Now, Stephen A. Smith, I know he's not here to defend himself, said some words about Dwight Howard the other day. And I know Dwight Howard pays attention to social media. The way he played, which is why Frank Vogel's thinking about starting him in Game 2, they were just physical with Jokic every single play. And I think that cumulative effect with the bigs of the Lakers ultimately is why they won that game.
The Nuggets' defensive game plan was terrible. When you watch them, they were so scared of LeBron that every time he drove the ball, everybody collapsed and left shooters open. Then, when I watched them play pick and roll on Rondo was coming off pick and rolls, and the big is jumping out on him. Now, traditionally, teams go under on Rondo, but when you jump out, that left guys open for rolls. AD's getting dunks and lobs. They just weren't prepared right in Game 1 from what I saw. And hopefully they'll come back Game 2 like we saw them in the last series. They weren't prepared and bounce back.
I've been driving the Nuggets bandwagon the last couple of years. Frankly, they're just not good enough. They have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Those are the 2 best players in this series. The Nuggets don't have a player that's ever been in the NBA Finals. This is a young team. They eclipsed something very exciting by beating the Clippers. They won. They eliminated the Clippers. They brought the crown from Kawhi and gave it to LeBron. But now LeBron, he about to win it all this year. So y'all better get ready for Laker fans.
So you said it's smooth selling from here on out.
I'm telling y'all better get ready for Laker fans to be excited and to front run.
I'm with you.
For LeBron to be at the press conference and let y'all know about his feelings, because I'm telling you, he knows that Kawhi got eliminated.
So it's smooth sailing is what you're saying for the Lakers.
Nothing but smooth
This is the third time
sailing
Jay
tonight.
said that. The third time you said that in the show. It's just the A's. We're going to keep coming back to that.
I mean, tell me he's wrong. Tell me he's wrong.
I'm not going to tell you he's wrong. I'm just going to say the Nuggets did bounce back from 3-1 deficits twice this
They got a
postseason.
ball. They got to be professional.
Okay.
But LeBron about to get his championship.
All right, Bam Adebayo, 15 points in the third quarter of Game 2. That's the most in the quarter in his career, obviously playing a huge role in why the Heat are up 2-0 against the Celtics. And since the Celtics are down,
down bad. I had to tighten it, but I'm here for the crown.
Gordon trying to turn the corner, forgot the ball. Step back, long 3. Got it, oh my! Tipped by Jimmy Butler, saves it on the sideline. Feed down low, Butler for the jam. We just got to find a way to win it.
Welcome back to NBA Countdown, presented by Mountain Dew.
I'm Rachel Nichols. I'm here with Richard Jefferson. We're coming to you from on the court inside the bubble. And Richard, you were on a very famous team, 2016 with the Cavaliers, that was down 0-2 in the NBA Finals. How did you guys have the mental sort of strength and gathering to come back from that?
Well, I'm not going to say that we had a Marcus Smart moment, but you have to have belief, and guys have to look each other in the eye and be able to say, like, hey, this is unacceptable. We saw the highlights. Everyone saw the highlights of the Miami Heat down the stretch, just out hustling that. And you know who else saw it? The Boston Celtics, and that's what they need to improve on, just that hustle and maintaining it.
Do you feel like the Celtics have what it takes to do what you guys did?
I believe this deficit is far different. This deficit is far different than what we're facing. There is no home court advantage. Everyone has that consistent part of the home court. But I think it's all about their mental fortitude. And if Marcus Smart or whoever, if they were going to have a moment, down 0-2 is the moment to have it, because you don't want to go down 0-3.
Kemba Walker told me it's all joy right now with this team, that they have talked things through. Do you buy that? Do you think that over the course of a couple days, guys who legit like each other, they've had great chemistry all year, can get to that good place?
Well, in order to be successful and have high-level success, you got to be able to call each other out. You got to be able to man up, and then you also have to be able to take criticism and then move on from it. And so. I believe that these guys have been down here for 2.5 months because they want to win a championship, and sometimes there's going to be some moments that, you know, everybody are going to get tested in those spots.
Well, look, it's been hard their whole way down here, and I know that they do not want to give up now. They know if they let go of the rope in Game 3, it's going to be very, very hard to come back from. Thanks so much, Richard. Back to you, Maria.
All right, so the Celtics, they're down, but they're certainly not out. According to ESPN's BPI, Boston has a 30% chance to win this series and advance to the finals for the first time since 2010. However, tonight's a must-win. No team has ever come back from being down 3-0 in a series. Ever. Paul Pierce, I'm just going to come straight to you. And when you hear that and you see the graphic, what are we thinking? How are we processing this?
This is a must-win, clearly.
Yeah.
This is clearly a must-win, but I think they're going to bounce back. I mean, they get Gordon Hayward back tonight, and I think that's a huge plus for them as far as, no, he won't have a good rhythm. No, he's not going to be who he was before he got injured, but the presence of Gordon Hayward. So now I say, look, at the end of games, when you don't have to help off Tice and that Gordon Hayward's in that position, that's presence right there. Now when you come down on those switches on Gordon Dragic, that's not Tice, that's Gordon Hayward right there now, a guy who can slide his feet a little bit better. So it's little things that he brings to the table that's going to help this team toward the end of games.
Are we this sensitive in 2020 where it becomes like such a crazy story that a team gets in an argument after they've lost their second game in a row down double digits? Like, sometimes that's exactly what you need. Like, I give Marcus Smart credit. You need somebody to be that dog in the locker room and say, yo, what are we doing? To challenge people. You know, if that led to a scuffle between him and Jaylen Brown, then good. It should lead. Jaylen Brown, Jay gave the stat the other day. What's their record when Jaylen Brown scores over 20 points?
They're
15-1.
undefeated.
So why can't he get the ball in the third quarter, fourth quarter? Why does he shrink and get away from, like, they need to confront that. And by the way, we're going to show tape of it. I mean, I've never seen a team play so poorly against a zone. It's a zone. You play against a zone, they should be
Jason,
dicing
teams
that
don't
up.
prepare for zones, though. Who practices? When the last time you seen a team play a zone in the playoffs? Like,
I mean, I've seen grammar school teams play against zone.
This is NBA. This is playoff.
I know, that's exactly
This is
my
to go to the
point.
championship.
That's my point.
This is to go to the finals. So, you know, they're not preparing.
The Celtics should have known because we've seen the Heat play.
Absolutely. But, like, yeah, listen, teams don't practice. Like, even in my last days, we didn't practice for a zone. And so I can see how it stifled them. Now they had some time to go over some things, but it's not like having that training camp practice to where you can have something consistent.
But on the outside 3-2 zone, though, it's like a basic 3-2 zone. It's not like they're some amoeba zone.
But if you're not a member of the team, if you think about the two guys that were allegedly arguing, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, if you teleported a style and a culture of the Miami Heat, you would say that they could go run with them.
Yeah.
Right? That's who those two players are. They're about toughness. They're about things that don't show up in the stat sheet. And when Jimmy Butler is getting deflections, clutch time late, and saving them with his left hand and getting dunks, players that actually play defense, that makes them frustrated. And I can see why both of those guys were upset because of what you said. They know it's do or die tonight.
Absolutely.
They know it's do or die tonight. We all know what happens to his Celtics if they lose tonight.
Like I said,
if the Celtics lose tonight, I'm going to invest in Big Face Coffee. If they lose tonight, they're not losing tonight.
And I'm going to get another Wally's for Eric Spoelstra.
All right, hey ladies, guess what? WNBA playoffs, they roll on tomorrow. The Suns squaring off against the MVP, Asia Wilson, the top-seeded Aces at 1 Eastern. Then we've got Sylvia Fowles and the Lynx taking on Stewie and and the Storm. Both games are streaming live on the ESPN app, so you can watch them absolutely anywhere. I do know what Wallace means. Thank you for teaching me that. We've been working on it. All right, you heard Uncle P say it. Gordon Hayward is back for the first time since August 17th, Jalen.
He has great hair as well, and he's going to help against that zone. Another ball handler and another shooter.
All right, I guess the gray hair, maybe it'll help him. Experience matters here. The Heat culture, it's a lot of things, but balance might be the most important one. So how do the Celtics attack? We break it down next.
Play like stars.
We're going to zone you. We're going to trap you.
We didn't cut it all. We didn't pass it all. We didn't play it all. We got to play better.
I want a long life, a legendary one.
I mean, we're frustrated. You're not supposed to be happy we're down 0-2.
Welcome back to NBA Countdown, presented by Mountain Dew.
And now we welcome in our senior NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, who yesterday reported that the Celtics head coach Brad Stevens had a late night meeting with his team to discuss some frustrations. So, Woj, what is the light you can shed on the conversations Celtics are having right now?
Maria, Thursday night after that Game 2 loss, when the emotions spilled over with Marcus Smart, some of his teammates into the locker room, and then into that meeting with Brad Stevens, a lot of that discussion was around a lot of talking and listening and talking about the frustration, certainly, of one they let get away in Game 2. But I'm told really the last 24 hours have been much more of a conversation about the schematic things that Boston's going to have to do against Miami, limiting Bam Adebayo in the paint, trying to figure out how to score and run an offense against that Miami zone that gave them a lot of trouble in Game 2. And remember this, too, Maria and guys. These players, everybody here has been cooped up for 3 months in this bubble. I'm surprised that there hasn't been maybe some more of those emotional outbursts, especially given nobody gets to go home and back to their homes at night. These guys are around each other all the time. I think it's a natural byproduct of the pressure of the playoffs and this unique environment here in the bubble. And for Boston, they get back Gordon Hayward tonight. First time he'll play in a month. He's a go. He'll come off the bench. Analytically, statistically, he's been off the charts for Boston this season. The role he's played is a complementary player to Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and there's certainly a lot of pressure on this Boston team to find a way to win Game 3, and they get a big boost with the return, I'm told, of Gordon Hayward tonight from that sprained ankle that's kept him out for about a month now.
Yeah, Woj, Hayward's played in one postseason game. He had 12 points against the 76ers. But you're in the bubble, too, so we're going to be watching out for you for emotional outbursts because you just described the environment. So now I'm worried about you. Just take care of yourself. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Maria.
All right, let's talk about it. The series could easily be 2-0 in favor of the Celtics as they have dominated for large stretches of games 1 and 2. Boston has led double-digit leads for nearly 19 minutes, while Miami has not led by more than 8 points. But 2 strong quarters from the Heat have them in a good spot to return to the finals for the first time since 2014. They have never blown a 2-0 series lead in franchise history. But in Boston, all's not lost. Both the 2018 Cavs and 2019 Raptors trailed 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and both of them went on to win the series and reach the finals. So we just heard what Woj had to say about schematically they're having conversations. You guys have mentioned all of the emotions that are happening. So who's in the right here? I mean, what do you take from what you're hearing from Woj about the conversations they're having?
Well, that shows me that the players care. They want to win. They're not interested in leaving the bubble early. That's all part of it when you come from a culture of winning. You guys get into it. Me and Kevin Garnett, we constantly argue because we care. We were competitive. And that just shows you how competitive these guys are. They want to win. They care. And so now that they got to the schematics of the game, they can tone it down and say, hey, this is the game plan. This is what we need to do to beat the Miami Heat. But you need to let your frustration out. Look at the circumstances. You're in a bubble. You're around each other. You lost 2 close games that you probably should have won. All those things add up.
The previous game was the first time all year where Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Kemba Walker each scored 20 and they lost, which tells me that they were getting it done in spurts offensively. But then bizarre things happen with each of them. Kemba Walker struggling against the zone. Jaylen Brown struggling in the third quarter. Jason Tatum is not continuing to attack to get to the free throw line. They're going to need all three of those guys to be more aggressive, more effective, and more efficient versus this tough Miami Heat defense.
I think they had something like 100+ passes in the fourth quarter. Now, if you weren't playing against a zone, somebody would say, wow, they did a great job of sharing the rock. Playing against a zone, you don't need 100 passes. You're overpassing the ball in the perimeter. Like, this goes back to a simple play that people learn in college or in high school basketball. It's called gaps. You attack a gap, you force both defenders to help. A guy slides open to an open spot, his hands are ready, you shoot the rock, right? Like, so here's my thing. They were outscored 37-17 in the third quarter because they had a lot of passes. Just continue to keep your foot on the gas and have a sense of urgency and attack the zone as if it was a man-to-man.
And not to get too deep in the weeds, but the Miami Heat zone is a lot different than we're accustomed to seeing. Usually you see players like Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson or Goran Dragic at the top of the zone. They're hiding them on the baseline. That's why you see Hero getting so many rebounds. They're putting Jimmy Butler and Crowder at the top of the zone. That's why Jimmy getting so many deflections. So they're protecting those guys on defense. When the ball go to the wing or go to the corner, you could just trap with one of those guys or trap with Bam. That's why the Celtics got to move the ball, but be more decisive and not overpass, like you're saying.
How much will Gordon Hayward actually help this team? We talked about Rondo when he was inserted. Remember, he played 25 minutes in that first game. Gordon Hayward, we don't know how he's feeling. Will he play that much in this game? But how much does he affect it?
This is crazy that I'm actually going to say this. I don't know if he's going to shoot the ball well after not playing for X amount of time that he's played. But I will say this, though. I watched Gordon Hayward play versus a lot of zone in college, right? There's a basketball IQ associated with playing against zone. Right? We're going to show the tape a little bit. There were multiple times guys just didn't know what positions to get the ball in those pockets to shoot. Like, they're moving in places that they shouldn't be moving to. He knows where to be to get those shots. He's going to get looks if they play zone. If he knocks him down, that's another question or not.
Yeah, it says that they shoot better from the field against the zone when he's in the game, so their efficiency instantly goes up. Who are we blaming, Paul Pierce? These are your Celtics, so who is carrying the most weight, the burdens? I need you to help me.
There's no blame. You got to give credit to where credit is due.
Easy on his
Celtics now.
It's so cute.
Well, he needs to be uplifting right now.
There's no blame.
Yes.
You got to give Miami Heat the credit. I mean, they played like dogs. They've been grinding. They've been the tougher team. Celtics got to match their toughness, but there's no one on the Celtics to blame. This is playoffs. You got to understand, it's tough to win in this league. It's tough to win a championship. You got to expect hard. And Miami Heat is playing as hard as they can, and they're right there where they need to be.
MT, if you watch the tape, a lot of times they're getting into their sets like 14, 15 seconds on the shot clock. Play faster. Get the ball up the court. Beat the defense back once or twice. And then once you start going, like you're seeing Jason Tatum take a lot of these difficult shots because the shot clock is dwindling down. But you also got into your offense around 13, 14 seconds. So get into your sets earlier and let the offensive breathe.
We're talking about the toughness of the Heat. We're talking about the scheme. Let's give Eric Spoelstra his flowers.
I'm with you.
You know what happens when you're discovered by Pat Riley and you coach LeBron James and the Big Three? Nobody gives you credit.
Right.
He reinvents this team. Jimmy Butler comes over from Philadelphia. Bam Adebayo becomes an all-star. He got so many shooters. Goran Dragic is balling. He shouldn't be playing better than Kemba Walker P.
Yep.
That's the difference. Players like that have elevated themselves.
And I think every show we try to bring it up. But remember, this Heat team has one player that was drafted in that top 10, remember? Andre Iguodala. And so you think about the talent on the Celtics team compared to what the Heat have and what Eric Spoelstra's been able to do. Big Face Coffee, you might have a new investor.
You can tell he's ready in that haircut.
Haircut
about 4
months.
months.
They beat the Celtics tonight. I'm investing in Big Face. I'm telling you.
Jimmy, he got some money.
He got some money for.
That's the best way I can put it.
The Miami Heat culture is a system based on discipline, hard work.
The Heat culture is, the toughest, the meanest, the resilience, the best shaped team. I mean, everything.
Persistent. It's an extremely persistent group.
More so than not, a lot of dudes find something within themselves and get to that next level.
Blood is team, my teammates, how hard they play. We just got a bunch of guys that don't care about stats, don't care about any of that stuff, just care about winning.
We stand for something, and that's competition, that's winning. We feel that there's a championship DNA that you can develop.
The Heat are 10-1 this postseason. Remember, it was a season ago that they didn't even make it to the playoffs. And words like resilient, toughness, even the word love, Jimmy Butler saying he loves all his teammates, that's the Heat culture that we're seeing.
I'm not even going to tell a basketball story. I'm going to tell a Miami Heat organization story. My freshman year in college, we're at Duke. I'm on the court. I'm playing. We getting shots up, and this guy, Nick, keeps coming over to me, handing me water. When guys would dive on the floor for a loose ball, this guy, Nick, would run out on the floor, wipe the floor down, right? Following day, we lose to UVA. We're watching tape. I played horribly. Coach K looks at Nick and is like, Nick, would you guys draft Jason? Jay, you want to be a pro basketball player? Nick, would you guys draft Jason? It was Nick Harrison, who is the Miami Heat CEO right now. His dad, Mickey Harrison, owns the team. If that doesn't give you any more insight into how humble and how hungry this team is, it's a trickle-down effect. And they've always drafted, they've always gotten players that have that grit to them that are willing to do the dirty work because it really bleeds into the culture.
I really want to walk through the roster and just talk about it, or really the starters. We're talking about Bam, the Tyler Heroes, the Dragon. I mean, what have you seen from each of them that has really kind of put it over the top for them in the playoffs?
So it's like a land of misfit toys. So Jimmy has flourished every time he's left a destination, but the destination has gotten worse when he's gone. And when you decide to leave Philly, that was like, wow. And then all of a sudden, it was a great decision. Look at Bam. Turn him into a 15, 10, and 5 guy that initiates offense. Goran Dragic, a 20-point scorer. None was undrafted and was in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. So look at a guy like Udonis Haslem. He embodies their culture.
Exactly.
They're going to retire his number. He's still on the sideline with a jersey, but like a coach.
Right.
That tells you how they continue to ingrain what they're trying to do in their culture.
Like, when I look at Miami, it's like, how do you even scout them? Because you could say, who's their best player? Jimmy Butler? Let's just say Jimmy Butler is their best player. He's the name, he's the face. But when you look down at the roster and you look at the stats after every game, Jimmy Butler had 14 points last game. He's their third leading scorer. So when I'm going to a game, I'm like, who do you prepare for? Because they have about 6 or 7 guys that can get double figures. They got 3 or 4 different guys that can beat you on any given night. And that's what you're saying. That's what's making them so unpredictable. They remind me of the Chauncey Billups Detroit Pistons team. I'm telling you. They might not be as great as them, but that team didn't really have a superstar, but they had grit. They had desire, they had hustle, and they went on to win a championship.
And don't you feel like every single player consistently just does what they do? Like, where you're questioning, hey, we need to see this from Kimber, we need to see this from Jason. It's like, okay, Duncan Robinson shoot threes. We know we're going to get from Jimmy. We know Bam's going to be a defensive stopper.
Exactly.
Like,
Tyler Heroes, that dude.
Tyler Heroes and fearless, you know what I mean? Like, they've never shown any weakness in that way.
You're not going to see no commercials from any of these guys. No signature shoes from any of these guys. They just go out there and play ball.
And also,
go ahead.
And also, they run their offense different. Usually you see pace in space or drive and kick. They do a lot of screen away to the strong side. They do a lot of dribble handoff in order to get their threes. And their 2 best players aren't volume 3-point shooters. So now in the fourth quarter, you get a ball to Jimmy. He's going pick and roll. Like Paul was saying, that was something they hadn't been doing all game. But he's a terrific closer, and you're trying to give him the ball.
If you had told me a couple of years ago after watching Duncan Robinson play at Michigan that he was going to be a starter in the NBA, I'd be like, man, you are tripping. He's overseas. But, like, once again, finding those diamonds in the rough and what he's blossomed into, they run so much action for him and Tyler Hero. And a lot of times he's okay with being used as a decoy, which ends up giving Bam easy buckets, ends up giving Jimmy Butler easy buckets. They're just brilliant to watch.
Okay with being a decoy, because what ends up happening with the Heat culture is you become an overachiever. See, in a lot of situations in the NBA, you underachieve. When you get there, it's like you're going to work hard, you're going to be in shape, you're going to make sure that you're the most disliked team in the NBA. Most squads aren't saying that.
And let's not forget, J. Rose, during the offseason, 4 a.m. morning workouts.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler had everybody, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, all of them in there, 4 a.m. off-season workouts.
Let me ask you this then. Why didn't Philly and Minnesota embrace the Jimmy Butler effect?
All I know is 4 a.m. I would have been coming from somewhere. Miami.
Jalen
He be
Rose.
just getting home. Just getting home.
Exactly.
This is not a good sign for having like 3 days off from shows because we got a game on Wednesday.
Boy, you ought to be like, yo, gotcha.
The next Eastern Conference Finals game will be Wednesday,
Y'all
guys.
go right ahead.
You do not come straight to the studio. You
make it hard on ourselves. We like being down double digits, being a comeback kids.
So the Celtics have struggled especially against the zone. In Game 2 against the Heat, and according to Second Spectrum, Boston has shot significantly worse from the field and recorded a much lower offensive efficiency against Miami's zone defense as compared to when they are played man-to-man. Professor Jay Will, take us to school. Help us understand how it's happening.
Let's think about this for a second, guys. The Celtics are struggling against a 3-2 zone. Let that sink in for a second. 3-2 zone in the NBA. Let's look at some of the things that they're doing, okay? Their offense is kicking off here with 19 seconds. You're going to see it here. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to see again. 1, 2. 3-2 zone, okay? 19 seconds. There the play goes. He goes through. Now, Kemba's pointing up. Poor communication. They're still not in their set. Still not in their set. Still not in their set. Okay, now once you get here, look at it. They're starting their set with 12 seconds left. This is how you beat it. Kemba Walker has to come off here. He has to attack Jay Crowder. If you attack Jay Crowder, you're going to see Marcus Smart slide down into this slot. You're going to have to see Jaylen Brown slide to the corner where you're going to get a wide open 3, Jaylen Brown, because once Marcus Smart catches the ball, he's going to attack Goran Dragic. That's how easy it is. He comes off, Kemba doesn't even attract him. Now, Kemba doesn't attract him, and still, watch, Marcus Smart hits a gap. He attacks 1, 2. Now, let me ask you, as he attacks 1, 2, Jaylen Brown, where are you going? Where are you going? Come on, man. That's a wide open jumper. That's an easy bucket. You go in. Where you go? You're going in. Now they still get the ball to the middle of the zone. Middle of the zone. Tice. Come on, man. Look at the rim. Look at the rim. He's looking back here. He kicks the ball back out. Kemba gets into the gap. Still, ultimately, a turnover. Those are the kind of plays, if you're Brad Stevens, you're like, come on, please, keep the game simple, guys. It's really not that hard. All right, here we go. Ball comes up the court. Okay, he goes into the gap, right? Goes into the gap. Now, Jason Tatum, easy slide. Bucket, wide open shot. Wide open shot. Bucket, slide into the gap. Now, okay, they don't take the shot. Cool. Let's think about it. Still, now they're playing against a zone. A zone. That's an easy switch, guys. You're not overloading a deep side. Switch. There you go. While you're going to run another screen. Another switch. Okay, now think about this. Look at the time situation again. 8 seconds. Here we go. All right. Now, they're going to score in this one. But watch how many things have to go wrong in order for them to still score. They score. He still gets in the gap, and he still scores. Right? Just because he's so gifted, athletic, but still, that shot came down to the last second. You could have made it so much easier than that. Now, this play right here. All right. Play comes up the court. I'm just letting you know when they get into their set. Okay, get into your set. 18 seconds, right? That's when they get into their set. Okay, great. Now, he's about to hit this gap, right? Boom. That's what gaps, right? Marcus Smart. What the hell are you doing? Get right here. That's an easy jumper. That's an easy jumper. Tice is already here. He's already occupied by Bam. It's an easy jumper, but nah, he wants to stay behind the ball. He's going to hang around here. So poor spacing. What are you doing? Okay, poor spacing. Here we go. Now look at this. We got, stop it again. Boom. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 players being guarded by 1, 2, 3. Look at the poor spacing of this. Look how poorly spacing that is. Everybody, they don't know what they're doing. Now look at the shot clock. We still down here, right? 13 seconds. Everybody's hanging out. Here it comes again. Nobody knows what they're going to do now. He's about to attack this gap. Get into that gap right there, right? Attract 1, 2. Come on, Kemba. Just slide into the gap. Come on, Jason. Just slide over. It's really that easy. But watch. Watch the kind of shot we get. That's the shot you get. I'm going to rewind it so you can see it again. That's the shot you get. That's the shot you get. Paul, that's the shot you get. Wow. Hey, look, this is basketball IQ. You're playing against a 3-2 zone. You play against a 3-2 zone. You hit those gaps. You understand spacing. With Gordon Hayward on the floor, it should be easy money. Everybody should be salivating. If Paul Pierce was on the court, Jaylen Brown, know your spots. You're going to get wide open shots all day. Just be ready to shoot.
Shout out to the professor. And you brought up a good point, the whole shot clock. They were 5 for 8 in the final 12 seconds of the shot clock. So there's a difference between whether or not they're getting their shot off earlier or not. Okay, after we see what Jay Will just broke down, spacing seems to be an issue. What's your biggest concern going into Game 3?
Well, I think you don't have to panic right now. I think you get some of the cavalry back with Gordon Hayward. He's going to add some more shooting, some more IQ, like you talked about. And they have to just watch this tape. I mean, it's clear that they're taking bad shots in the zone. If they just move, make the extra pass, screen the zone, their opportunities are going to be there. The key is just not to panic right now. It's 2-0. You got 4 games left. The Celtics are capable of winning 4 in a row.
You know what else will help Paul Pierce, and you're going to appreciate this comment. If Jason Tatum is dominant. As much as we talk about the best player, the all-NBA performer coming up huge when his team needs him the most, this is the Celtics do or die tonight. They're going to need that young man to play like it. And the previous game, I was a little nervous, Maria. Yeah. He came out, he's wearing a headband. I don't understand. Right? Change it. I'm just saying, he's not wearing one today, Paul. You should feel good. He got a fresh cut. I'm telling you.
The headband ain't for all of us.
Without a headband, I think he going to ball today, Jay.
All I'm saying, if you're the Celtics, for as poorly as you played, being up double digits, letting those leads, dissipate, you've only lost a game. They've been single possession games. Single possession games down to the wire. Just execute better, you win those games.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And remember that the Celtics were up by 17 points in that game. They've held the lead in the majority of these games. The stress. Okay, who we got in game 3?
I got Celtics tonight.
Celtics, I anticipate a long series.
It's either Celtics or I'm invested in big face coffees.
All right, well, we'll see whether or not you have to give up a little bit of money. We will be here with you at halftime.
He got it.
Enjoy the game in Orlando.